Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.
And you know what? Sometimes you just gotta be a little unplugged and let it rip.
Welcome to Big Cal
and Kahuna.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Alec.
All right, there we go. So let's go into introduction and recap. What did we miss from last week, or do we have any commentary?
To the two people that watched this, I do want to apologize for the black bars on the left and right side of the video.
It looked good. It was like it was a movie.
This was filmed in 720p for some reason, so...
I have no idea what that means.
You know resolutions. 1920 by 1080p is HD.
Yeah.
Double that is 4K.
Right, so if you do the, 720, it throws the black in?
720 by 1280 is a lower resolution than HD.
So like those old DVDs we used to get when they had the old movies and they put them out, like it was panoramic, but the ends were still black?
Yeah, so it fit to the screen weird, so that's why there's the black. But today, it put me in gear to figure out this camera, which we've been using now for 10 episodes.
Yeah, well, you finally figured out 4K?
I finally configured it to film in 4K and not have to use Adobe Premiere Pro to upscale it to 4K. So this is the first fully 4K recorded video of the podcast, which, as you can tell, is why he is keeping his hands over his nether regions, because he doesn't want them showing in full 4K resolution.
The vape pen right there.
So,
well, that would not be, that'd be dangerous.
So that's our update. You get to see our mugs in 4K now.
And how dirty our hats are.
Native 4K, yeah.
Man, you see this? Your Delilah chewed the corners of each
that
of my
side
hats.
is the worst. Did you have Mom have to sew that?
No, you can't. She chewed. My dog chews my shit. I don't know. It's got to be the smell. But she chewed my hat up. But remember when we had Rex?
Yes.
And how he destroyed that one hat I had?
I love that dog. Why did we get rid of him? Well, I know why, because he jumped at Sydney through a sliding glass door. But I love that Great Dane. And then remember, we gave him
to the nuns,
to a parish of nuns, and then after a week, they're emailing you, please take him back.
No,
we can't handle him.
They didn't. He's just a very protective dog that we couldn't not have aggressively attack people, and I think he was blind. Yeah, we couldn't see at night because he jumped at Sydney too. So.
I also, for the recap, I have to move my mic.
But he ended up going to a place where there was like 12 ladies taking care of him. He was like a kid. So
yeah, kid in a candy shop.
All right. So what else? Is it for the recap? The 4K camera.
We talked. We didn't do video games last time, did we? That was the time before.
I think it was the time before. But Gallagher's still the best.
Dude, I've been...
You get ready for the new Tiger Woods game?
I told you about this because he picked me up a little early so we could play around the Golden Tee.
Yeah, minus 18 after 18?
We were both minus 18, but
on a standard guy?
We lost to the first in the leaderboard by what, 4? Two, that's right.
And we could have done it if we did our...
Yeah.
Because we each screwed up at least 4 shots.
Yeah, and you know, I do think that score on the leaderboard was one of us.
I think so, because we're always player 1.
And we always blow up on the 18th hole.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I informed you of my cattywampus sleep cycle. Is cattywampus the proper adjective to use there?
Yeah, I believe so.
This past week, I've been staying up until 3 a.m. playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And God bless my cats, because they get fed when I wake up. So they're used to like 9.
Right.
But I've been waking up at 12 or 1 this past week. I'm self-employed, so I don't have to be in a slack huddle at 9 a.m. But man, this game, you've heard of Skyrim? Okay.
No.
Well, you know the video games that are set in medieval times and they're fantasy?
Yeah, the only one was the Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, sure. But
so what's the plot of this one?
This game in particular, so it's
like
a sequel.
The Witcher?
No, so you know The Witcher? Oh, because
you saw the show. Yeah, the first 2 seasons. There's 3 and 4 I got to watch.
So you don't need to watch it. Henry Cavill stopped after the 2nd season.
He might be the new James Bond.
Because they weren't staying true to the books.
Oh, he wasn't in there?
So he rebelled.
Who took his spot?
I forgot, but the director, this woman, was not staying true to the books and making it a little liberal. But so picture The Witcher without any of the fantasy elements. So it takes place in Bohemia, which is part of
Germany.
what used to be Czechoslovakia and is now the Czech Republic in the 15th century. So it's a survival medieval game with a combat system that everybody finds difficult. It's sword fighting, right? But there are 5 different points in which you can position your weapon to do counters and to hit the part that isn't taken up by a shield or sword of your opponent.
And you get to pick your different types of swords?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what's the best one?
Well,
the Vikings had a special sword. There's only 140 of them made. They say it's the greatest sword of all time. Now, in that era, because I don't think it would have matched some of those old samurai swords they find. But it can't be a long sword from England. It's just too big to wield.
No, so there's
Maybe
short
the
swords,
Turkish
there's
one?
long swords, there's falchions, which are, like curved. There's polar arms, there's maces, there's axes, there's two-handed axes. But I go with a short sword and a shield combo because short sword is the only weapon type in the game. Remember how I said there's 5 different directional points? So let's say your opponent is lined up like this. They have their sword to their right.
Yeah, it's just
When they go for a strike, if you have your sword opposite of them, and you usually have a little icon that shows up where you can block to get a perfect block. But instead of that, if you attack from the opposite angle, you do a master strike, which parries their attack and does a very lethal attack.
All right.
And that's the only weapon type.
Look,
we just lost the one person who's watching, but I'm really enjoying that game.
I haven't played those kind of games in like 20 years. I think the last one was Gauntlet and the first Call of Duty. So maybe after we upgrade my system so we could play the Tiger Woods Golf, when that comes out, then you can give me a game to learn as I go.
I'll give you an intro. You do really well with Fallout or Skyrim.
Okay, we'll give it a shot. All right, so where are we on current affairs?
It's looking more and more likely that we're going to take Iceland.
No, we're not even talking about taking Iceland. It's Greenland, you dumbass.
Greenland. Apologies.
No, we're not. You can't just take an island. They have to vote for it. They're under the protection of Denmark.
When I say take, I don't mean literally. I mean we'll have Denmark relinquish it to us.
It's not going to happen, man. That ain't never going to happen.
It's at a very strategic location.
We get free
Trump
access
is not the
to
first president who tried to acquire.
No, I understand
Greenland.
that, but we're not going to buy Greenland. It's not going to happen, especially when you get access to it and you can do mineral work with the government there. So
pertaining to our government in terms of current affairs is the fact that we might all get stimulus checks.
Yeah, some kind of Doge dividend.
Somewhere between $5 and $10,000 because of all the money they've saved.
Well, you know what?
I don't know about you.
I like
the
plan
on my credit card.
Well, I'll put mine on a credit card too. But the plan is, I think 20% goes back as dividends, 20% pays down the debt, and then they figure out what to do with the other 60. Look, it's the one thing I will say about President Trump and his team. His team, I've been listening to their hearings or when they get out into the press the first, second, third week since they've been there.
Cash Patel just got confirmed.
Yeah, I saw that. But to a man and a woman, these people are wicked smart.
No nonsense.
They're all no nonsense, but they know their subject matter, and no one is going to get over on them. And I've been watching them go back at these snarky press corps and just jam them with truth statements. And it's look. I'll give President Trump credit in everything that he's doing right now. Some things I do differently, but I understand the end game, so he's right on track. I couldn't argue because he's playing the end game and he's playing people. They're falling in his hand, like the governor of Maine saying, "I'll sue you," and he goes, "Okay, great. It'll just prove the point." But the people he has running these agencies, from Secretary Noem and Cash Patel and A.G. Bondi, RFK Jr., the fella he put in Commerce, the guy he's got in Treasury.
Rubio's doing good too.
Rubio, they're all super wicked smart, and they get it, man.
Well, they're
They get
competent.
it.
They've been there before,
They're more than competent.
and they're very eloquent.
Yeah.
And they know how to get the job done.
Yeah, they're all getting it done. So I'll give them credit for that. All right, and then let's go on to.
We could talk about the chainsaw. That was pretty funny.
Well, go ahead.
The president of Argentina, who I have a bone to pick with, we'll mention that during my bitch of the week, but he gifted Elon that.
He's like the Argentinian
chainsaw.
Trump, they say.
Yeah.
But that country's in a world of shit with
It
their
was.
inflation
They're
and
doing a
everything.
lot better now.
No, they're coming back. They'll get there. But that's what happens when you go super, super left. Your fucking economy goes to tank.
Yeah, I mean, even in our country, I think 80% of all the currency in circulation in this country is printed in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm just amazed with what the Doge Group is finding. You know, Stacey Abrams and her organization has got $2 billion from, was it the EPA or something? Come on, man.
What?
If that proves to be true, that's nothing but a graft. But we'll see
Grift.
what happens.
Grift or graft?
It's a graft.
I thought it was a grift.
A grifter,
Grifter grafts?
yes.
Okay.
They don't grift you. They graft. No, a graft is a kickback.
Oh, okay.
A
But
grifter is a hustler.
yeah. Okay. I knew they were different.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what's going on.
All right. You want to talk about the Four Nations?
Yeah.
They got the All-Star break right. The NBA's All-Star break is stupid. They go to these 4 one-quarter bullshit with these 4 teams. What a waste of time. And then your boy LeBron, the face
LeBron
of
James.
the face of the league.
The face of CCP.
He's on one of the 4 teams, and he decides at the last minute he ain't playing. Now, had he been a man
He's
and
got a
said,
hair
I ain't
appointment
going
in
to
Turkey."
play, he could have brought another person in. But, you know, your face of your league doesn't play. NBA is dog shit compared to
It
NHL.
just shows you the legitimacy.
NHL
of
had
that.
it right. Everything was right. We watched that game Thursday night. Unfortunate the U.S. loses. They get snake bit by Canada in some of these big games.
It's funny,
But
I texted
Canada
you.
is still the best in the country.
I texted you halfway through the third period before the final
No, you
intermission.
said
I
Canada's going to win in overtime.
I said Canada's going to win in a shootout. So I was
No, you said
just a
mine
bit
said
off.
overtime. I think you misread
All
it.
right,
So
well,
you
I called it
you
perfectly.
You did. But they did it right. So
Well, Canada needed that win because there would have been riots after the first game if they didn't win.
nobody riots in Canada.
Yeah, yeah.
Only the
oh,
immigrants.
They wouldn't riot. They would quickly shuffle out and go, "Oh, sorry, excuse me, sorry."
Yeah. Sorry, a boot and Mazda. So.
But you gotta.
Mazda.
I mean, if you're running simulations, if you're checking historical data, you would presume that Canada creates better hockey players than America.
They do.
We're probably number 2 for foreign sports. Number 1 is the original country because they immigrate here because we have infrastructure and actual
Dude,
infrastructure in the
when
sense
the Russians
of
were hot,
groups,
they had some
groups.
good players too.
I mean, the NHL, the NBA, we have good associations for
No,
the
I get
sport
that.
and good money. But this is the same thing we were talking about last week about
Rugby.
Rugby. If you put some guys together for rugby, we could be the best team.
Yeah.
When it comes to the NHL,
Soccer, no.
when it comes to the NHL, you have to presume that Canada is 9 times out of 10 better than America.
Well,
Because that's the only sport in Canada.
yeah, well, it is, and you know they're considerably smaller than us, but the amount of our kids that play hockey are about the same amount of their kids.
Yeah.
You know, Minnesota, a little Pennsylvania, Massachusetts,
New Haven.
yeah, Connecticut. All those northern countries primarily is where the hockey talent comes from in the U.S.
I saw something where there's more Americans north than there are Canadians north, because of the East Coast. Allegedly, there's a higher population of Americans more northern than the higher population of Canadians.
I don't think so, but I do know the majority of Canadians live within like 100 miles of the border. I think 90% of all Canadians live within 100 miles
And
of
what's
the border.
nutty about that is some of those Canadians cross the U.S. border every day to go to work and vice versa.
Same thing in Mexico.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Now, I think though
But I love hockey. You
that
can't,
like
you can't see this.
like in
I played.
we talked about rugby. I think we have the talent to compete in rugby. We don't have the talent in soccer. And that's because
Money.
we don't have enough. We have a lot of kids playing it.
Yeah, but not enough
But
people
we
in
don't have
America
elite.
care.
We don't have elite compared. And those guys start running them kids in teams when they're 5, 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
years
It's
old.
the same shit the British and the Europeans
Well,
do
it's-
with karting.
It's like baseball with the Dominicans and the Cubans
Yeah,
and stuff.
it's what Tiger Woods'
Well, but it's
dad
also
did to him.
it's
He
also
started
way
it
out.
too.
Yeah, so that's a different
Yeah,
way.
but I think the reason why soccer isn't as prevalent in this country is because
It is prevalent. We're
it's-
just not
it's
good on the world
prevalent,
stage.
But we're not good on the world stage given the fact that we don't have as much media coverage of that sport in this particular country.
I don't think
than
that
other
means
countries.
anything.
And I was
Well, I don't think we have enough
a
talent because
few-
I don't think our systems are good enough to produce the talent.
A few years ago, I was taking a defensive driving course just to get more points on my license. And there was this African American kid. He was probably 19, 20. He was talking to me because he played for the main team around here.
Okay.
And then he got poached by someone in the German league.
Oh, he played DC
So-
United?
No, they poached him out of college.
Oh, okay.
But he's playing in the German league,
Well, he'll do better
making
there.
a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and he'll do better.
He was telling me he had a Charger Hellcat, with a scat pack, and he had a camo wrap on it, and he ran from the cops so much that he had to change the livery on his car because they had his description.
That's terrible. That's
So he got
terrible.
pulled over after he changed the it's not vinyl. What do they put around the
Yeah,
cars
it's-
to wrap them?
It's appeal.
Okay, whatever
yeah.
wrap they
It's a
put on
wrap.
it. He had a different wrap when they pulled him over, and that was the only reason why they let him go because they had him dead to rights on everything else, but his wrap wasn't camo.
There you go. There you go. All right, you want to hit one other thing real bit quick?
Sure. What do you got?
It's on the list, knucklehead. You wanted to talk about Blake Lively.
Oh, well, your handwriting's for shit. Yeah. So
They're going to get themselves in trouble, her and Ryan Reynolds.
That's
the new Amber Heard.
You
yeah?
guys all have moms. It is. You guys all have moms. If your mom is akin to mine, she read those Nicholas Sparks books. Those romance fantasy books that are 50 Shades of Grey light. This movie Blake Lively was in, It Ends With Us, is kind of the movie equivalent of those types of lovey-dovey books. But keep in mind, Blake Lively hasn't really had a box office film that establishes her notoriety.
I couldn't tell you anything except for she's married to Ryan Reynolds.
I
and
only
he's
know
in
this because
Deadpool.
there's this internet guy I watch on YouTube who did a whole documentary on this.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't have a standout film.
Okay.
So this was supposed to be her standout film. They brought her on as the lead actress.
Mm-hmm.
She started taking creative liberties.
Yeah, I heard that.
Influencing the director.
Yeah.
Rewriting scenes.
Yeah.
And even brought in Ryan Reynolds
But didn't they
to
ignore her?
rewrite further scenes.
Didn't they ignore her?
No.
And then she just kept going
They
and going
initially,
and going
yes.
and going.
And finally, towards the end of it, it was delayed, I think, 3 to 6 months, but she had a say in what was to be said, how it was
she
to be
forced
filmed.
her way in, right?
Yes. She even used Ryan Reynolds to bully the director into giving her more creative liberties.
Yeah, I told you they said that the light-footed, I don't know if he's gay, but the light-footed
Light in the
Canadian
loafers.
long hair guy with the little dog in Deadpool was supposed to be a shot at that guy.
Yeah, it was. So they not tarnished. They kind of strong-armed this director into getting more responsibility pertaining to the film and basically writing it the way that they wished it to be written.
Yeah.
Or
But
wrote.
then they sued him for sexual harassment.
Yeah, and then they claimed that he sexually harassed her. And then he said, most people of his notoriety would just lay over and take it. He went, no. He started releasing texts.
Yeah, but
He
he's
started
back-
showing texts of other.
He's backed by the producer of the film.
Yeah.
Who's paying a legal bill. And I think
probably said,
when
"Fuck
all
no."
the information comes out, it will be quite different than what it was originally reported to be.
So they sued him. I bet you the producer went to him and goes, no. So now he's suing Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively for $300 million regarding defamation.
Look,
character.
I've
I think he'll win.
I've only seen what I've seen on the news, and you know, when it originally started, it was like, man, she got a case. But then as soon as this guy started responding, it's like, uh-oh, this is not going to
Yeah.
go well.
So Blake
So
Lively.
I think she's going to get in trouble.
You know what's screwed is that the SNL 50 or whatever.
Yeah, they should have.
They made
done
that Ryan Reynolds joke.
Yeah.
Why are you joking about that when he's not even in the room?
because he's trying to be hip, and it backfired. You
So-
got a hole in your sock.
So
you
this
know
is
that?
where
Your other foot, man, is showing the camera.
I'll put my pinky toe in that hole.
Oh, you.
So this is going to backfire in 3 main ways for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. You see, you got my little toe out.
Yeah, how so?
The first one is going to be monetarily.
Yeah,
They're going to lose a couple $100 million.
probably.
Second one is Blake Lively will be discredited, and she won't get any of these big roles going forward.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll be discredited,
was
but
supposed
she'll,
to be
she'll
her breakout
become
movie.
she'll become like movie cancer. No one has touched her.
Yeah, can Amber Heard.
Yeah.
This is the next Amber Heard. And the third thing, and I think this is the most important, it pertains to Ryan Reynolds. He has cultivated this narrative surrounding himself
Yeah,
that he's
it's
just
not
a
gonna be good
jovial,
for him.
nice guy. But now with all this evidence coming out that he strong-armed this cat, his reputation will be
Well,
tarnished.
you know, they said he originally started doing this because he was getting all jealous.
Well, I mean, there's multiple makeout scenes. That would make sense. If he's such a narcissist
Dude,
that
I
this
am
stuff
not-
shows,
Look, I'm not an actor, but if I was, I'd have to be like that one, the bad guy in Yellowstone, the super Christian guy. I ain't kissing on no women, and ain't nobody kissing on my woman. Ain't nobody
they tried to
kissing
ruin
my
that
lady.
guy because he said he wouldn't do a sex scene with somebody
Yeah.
else because he's a Christian and
Yeah.
married. Here's what I
I wouldn't
think.
do that.
Here's what I think.
How do you explain that to your wife? Like, I've been married to your mom 32 years in May. How do I explain to her, it's an actor. It doesn't mean anything while you're laying there naked. You know, no. You can't, you can't do that stuff, man.
This might get me in trouble, but I kissed a girl at UVA in my acting class because I told her that the scene we were rehearsing required a kiss. She's like, well, if it's for acting. I'm
You
like,
dumbass. All right, where are we at now? Oh, the new season 3 of Reacher came out this week.
Yes, it did. And then my boy, who's such a nice guy, it's a shame that he always has to play these villains.
Who's that?
The Dutch Giant, the 7-foot tall guy in there.
Yeah, where's he from?
He was in Indiana Jones.
As-
I think. No. So he was the guy in the old timey The Gentleman movie, the third one,
Yeah.
when they rise that wooden structure with the rope and they have to fight the bad guy at the end and the bad guy's head gets chopped off.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, he was in that. He's an actor, but he's just
He's a big fucker.
He's a 7-foot tall strong man.
Oh, he's 7 foot?
with a big Instagram following.
Okay.
So that's how he's been getting.
But
these
he's 7
acting
foot?
roles. Yes.
Because the guy playing Reacher, what's his name again?
Alan Richardson.
Something like that. He looks dwarfed compared to that
Yeah.
guy.
Do you like that scene where they were doing
He
the
punched
Bavarian
himself.
arm wrestling? What the?
You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a good series. You got to watch it. All right. So we'll go to the book real quick. So the book got published 3 days ago. By the time you watch this,
Hey,
the free load will
cheers.
be out.
I'm officially a published author.
You are. So the Kindle version's out and the paperback's out.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description. But the only thing I'll tell you guys is the chapter this week is just move. You guys got to get out there. You got to start working. A lot of you guys work from home, or you get up, you go to work, you come home. Listen, you don't have to work out. You don't want to work out right now. Just go walk. Walk for 30 minutes. Get your Fitbit or whatever it is. Get your 10,000 steps in. Just move.
All right,
and
I'm
when you
hiding the
start
piggy.
moving, you'll start moving more and doing more. But just start.
Yeah, and we
Just
don't
start. It doesn't matter how you start. Just start.
we don't protest or proclaim to be any of these motivators on social media.
No.
But I will give you an analogy. Humans are eerily similar to sharks in the context of if you stop moving as a shark, you die.
Yeah, they sleep a minute a day, I think.
I don't know if that I would have to look into that, but in terms of life, stagnation will set you back more than doing the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Well, we talked about this last week when it comes to you guys finding a companion. If you get on the wrong bus, you got to get off as fast as you can. And the longer you go, the harder your journey is to come back. It's the same thing with exercise and physical fitness.
Trust me from experience, I have a protective order against a woman. You want to get off as soon as possible.
So we're not talking about that, but we're talking about weight and exercise. The further you go away is going to take you further, and it's going to be more painful coming back. So just get out there and start doing something. Get your steps in. Don't take the elevator, take the stairs. Just park further away, the furthest spot you can when you go to Walmart or whatever it is. Just do something if you're not doing anything. And then start walking. And then from there you can do whatever you want.
If we weren't doing a bit for our books, I would have mentioned the book Atomic Habits. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Atomic Habits basically says that you start off small and you incrementally progress every single day.
Yeah.
Until it becomes such a prominent change.
But you got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And you have to have a reason to change.
But if you're looking for some motivation to change and you're willing to change, which is half the battle, read that book I mentioned, Atomic Habits.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Listen, the next little segment we have is an ode to one of our favorite movies, Dodgeball.
If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Rip Torn was perfect in there.
I'm white. W-H-I-T.
Well, no, that's Stiller.
Yeah, but he's in Dodgeball.
Yeah, I know, but I was talking about the coach, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Patches O'Houlihan.
Patches O'Houlihan. And Dan Lazaro or whatever, the guy from The Simpsons, who does Abu and all the and the bartender, he was Patches when he was younger in the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the ADAA?
Yeah, in the
ADAA. American Dodgeball Association of America.
But you guys got to watch that. Dodgeball is great. But in there, they got Jason Bateman, and I forgot.
If I can, my favorite
and the guy
scene.
from The Office, the boss. What was his name?
That's Michael Scott.
What was his name?
Shoot.
Forgot the head guy's name.
The character is Michael Scott.
No, not The Office. The Office Space.
Office Space.
Remember the boss?
The one that comes around with the suspenders? Yeah, we're going to have you come.
It was him and Jason Bateman were the announcers on the Ocho.
It's a bold move, Con. Let's see if it plays off. But you know what my favorite
Hold on a second.
scene?
I'm trying to... Let me announce the
Let me just
fucking
say the
segment.
favorite
I'm trying to
scene.
announce the segment. Go ahead.
My favorite scene is when that little kid is doing a car wash of that guy's big truck. And
Yeah, so get in there nice
he's
and tight,
rubbing
boy.
his belly button. He goes, "That's right, boy. Get in there nice and deep eye."
Right.
His pit bull's barking at him.
And he's got his shirt off. All right, so the segment is in lieu or in reference or deference to Dodgeball is called the Ocho because the fellow from Office Space, I don't remember his name, and Justin Bateman were the announcers on the Ocho or ESPN 8.
ESPN 8.
So we figured on this segment what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the stuff we end up watching, and it would definitely be on ESPN. So we'll go.
It's a drought right now for sports.
Yeah. So look, football's over, been over for a couple weeks. The NBA regular season is dog shit. The NHL regular season's considerably better. The only time I watch the NBA is in the playoffs, and it depends on the series.
Playoffs?
Because it's a waste of time. I hate it. NHL playoff hockey is the best. And now we got March Madness around the corner, and then we got the Masters coming. But right now we're in a dead period.
Drought.
So we watch whatever we can watch. So today, before we came down, I was watching, and Alec too, and I was explaining
He's trying to explain to me the intricacies of the sport.
Curling, number one show you could watch on the Ocho. One of them. That's
Ocho.
number one on the list, on the Ocho. So curling, what would yours be? Then the next one.
I'm torn between two, but I got to go with it just because the other one.
Well, we'll get 5
in
each.
the Olympics. I got to go with badminton.
Badminton, yeah. I was watching doubles badminton the other day. All right, I will go with darts because when you watch the dart championship, the world championship, and everybody's in a beer hall and these guys are on the top, and you get these guys that go triple 20, triple 20, triple 20,
and it's
get
over.
180, and then 180 again, and then they double out. They're amazing. I love
and they're all just
watch darts.
They're all just conventionally looking men with pot bellies.
Dude, they're bigger. They're
nailing
bigger
this
than
shit.
your average bowler.
That's, I think, the only, and that's a good
Yeah, so what's your
allusion,
next one?
But that's the only professional sport. I think they're allowed to drink alcohol during it.
No, you can in bowling if you want to.
Okay,
You
well,
could-
that alludes to my
right.
choice.
The
The
Professional
PBA.
Bowling Association. Yeah,
Bowling.
I like that. I will go.
You
with,
remember that scene from Jackass when they got that lady bowler that
Oh, hit him in the nuts.
Danger, right, whatever his name, Eric Danger or whatever, hit him right in the nuts.
Yeah.
And the first one bounced off his legs.
All
So
right.
they're like, you got to do it again.
So mine will be the PBR, the Professional Bull Riding Circuit. That's pretty good too.
God, I wish I knew that guy's name, but there's some really good. He's probably the #1 guy.
Right now, the young kid
He
with the black
retired.
hair. Oh, okay.
No,
There's a young kid out now. He's in his 20s.
What's funny
He's
is all
pretty
those
good.
cowboys from Texas and the South, they all look as if they are meth smokers because their skin's very tight
Yeah.
and leathery.
All right. Well, before you offend everybody, what would be your next Ocho one?
My next Ocho, we didn't talk about this upstairs, but it fits the bill. It's probably fishing.
The bass fishing tournaments?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? They're okay. Maybe 5 minutes for me. You know what I got into
With everybody
recently?
using the lead weights.
And only because I'm a novice, so if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I got in one night watching like the weekly half-hour show, and then I watched a couple of them of collegiate women's volleyball. And Nebraska, I guess, is like the best. These guys, oh my goodness. When we were talking last week that when you see something special, no matter what sport or who it is, you notice it.
Uh-huh.
These ladies, Jesus, some of them were flying way the hell up there and coming down with some power. It was quite impressive. So I would say female NCAA
Female
volleyball.
On ESPN 8 The Ocho. Remember when they were introducing the ESPN 8 The Ocho? It
Yeah.
was the flaming Dodge. It was the flaming whips,
Yeah.
and it was also the squirrel
Right.
on the jet skis.
So what's yours?
So here's another obscure one we didn't talk about, and this would fit the Ocho, is wakeboarding. Because remember in Singapore you got all the ramps. They
No,
get
wakeboard
scored
would be
on the
okay.
points.
I would rather you have said something like the super fast speedboat competitions.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
fuckers that if they catch it
Yeah,
wrong,
dude,
that's better than
those
wakeboarding or ski
things
jumping.
are so.
That's crazy, man. You put your life in
you're
your
on
hands.
the freaking limit, and if you screw up, you're going.
You're
100
gone.
feet in the air.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So what would my next one be? I had a couple good ones. You know what
The
I like
mud
watching?
tracks you talked about.
I like watching rugby.
I don't think that's the Ocho though. That's just not American.
That would be on the Ocho.
Fair enough. Mine would be my next one, because we saw this too and we talked about it. Are the modified trucks that go around
the NASCAR truck racing
tracks?
Yeah. Well, then mine would be any other type of motorsport. I don't care what it is, whether it's dirt bikes
Motocross.
on motocross, or it's the speed bikes at Isle of Man, or it's just the guys
That's
on the
another
track.
thing, dude, that TT Isle of Man. We should
watch.
educate our two listeners.
the Netflix documentary about that. That's
That-
worth watching.
Freaking course. These guys are going on the limit.
In the 60s and
200
70s,
miles.
somebody died every year.
3 people died every year.
They because they're coming over
ridiculous.
blind turn. These guys are flying people. They're going 100, 120, 150 miles an hour.
Faster than that.
And they're coming over blind. Now, they got to scope the turns beforehand, but they get caught. And sometimes they just go whoop,
And they just
right
go
off.
right off the mountain.
Yeah.
It's
It's
see
terrible.
them fall 200 feet.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know another racing thing I would like?
What's that?
You ever watch a monster truck show?
Yeah, I did think about that a few times. I don't think that really pertains to a sport.
Well,
It's more of a spectacle.
how about monster truck drag racing? I saw that.
Dude, wait, you saw Gravedigger go on a drag race against somebody?
Yeah, they would drag race them
Get
sometimes.
outta here.
I'm serious. What else we got?
God, this
What-
country
what-
is so awesome.
Oh, well, you could always watch cricket.
I don't think cricket is.
That's not an
ESPN
Ocho
ATL.
sport in the
No,
U.S.? No? Well, then how about ping pong?
Ping pong for sure. Table tennis. I would go with racquetball. That'd be on the Ocho.
Yeah, or probably squash.
Squash. What's
Have
that?
you ever watched? Oh, have you ever? So you're talking about
Polo.
bowling? Hold
That's
on.
the rich one.
Oh yeah, with the guys on horses. I watch that. Your mom likes watching horses. You know what? The one I saw a couple times, and it was goofy as shit. Duck pin bowling.
What?
So duck pin bowling, the ball is a little bit bigger than a softball, and the pins are all small. And I think there's 12 of them, and you got to knock them down. My grandparents played that back in San Francisco in like the 40s and 50s.
What's that game Papa always had us play with the balls and the arches? Is that crochet?
No, croquet.
Croquet.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
That was fun.
that'd be on there for sure. We're just gonna talk about
Or
it.
chess.
Chess has its own fucking channel.
Yeah.
Magnus Carlsen was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, tell me
recently.
about this. You told me about somebody with a butt plug.
So that's the leading theory. So
Well,
Magnus,
tell the story while I
Magnus,
have a beer.
Magnus Carlsen is a wonderkid. He won the chess Grandmaster World Championship in his early 20s.
No shit.
And
Is he American? No.
No, he's like Dutch or
Dutch
something.
or something?
One of those countries.
So it means
But-
he's a genius.
He's a wonderkid. But not only did he win it, Dad, he defended it for 10 years.
Well, that's so he's got to be one of the greatest athletes
He's-
of all time.
Chess is not.
Chess isn't a sport.
You want to call that guy a sportsman?
It's
Well,
a
I mean,
sport.
his mind is great. So, Magnus Carlsen, very
Some AI company should be hiring that guy in there to do code.
well. Deep Blue, I think, was the chess software.
Yeah,
that hasn't lost
IBM.
or maybe lost to one person. Deep
Him,
Seek. I don't know. I don't think it was him.
Watson.
IBM Watson.
But that's what the Deep Blue is, or
Okay.
whatever.
Well, anyways, he's exceptional, and with
I
chess,
gotta change my shit because I can't. Even
I know
see
we
your
keep
face.
looking at each other's.
I know. We'll have to
arms.
post them on the side next time.
So, him and other chess players, you're ranked. I think it's 3,200 to be a grandmaster, or 2,600, but there's a points ranking
Yeah, of course.
system.
Yeah, you got to play.
So this guy who was accused of cheating, I don't know his name. I'm not going to learn it. I don't really care, to be quite frank with you. Was middling, and then all of a sudden jumped
Like
up
mid-pack,
to yeah,
right?
jumped up to grandmaster. And this guy Magnus Carlsen said that this guy who's alleged to cheat had no discernible style of his play, which
It wasn't
Ass-
predictable. He had no trademark.
no
moves.
human element, which
Yeah.
asserts the notion that he was using
AI.
some semblance of AI to cheat to get the right best move every
Yeah,
single
but
time.
you told me he put some up
Yeah,
his ass.
so the leading theory as to how he did it was that he had a butt plug
and they were using Morse
and
code
they
or
had
something.
somebody in the stands watching, relaying the board, and then the butt plug
Would tell him what to move.
via vibrations would tell him
Via
knight to C4.
Morse code or something.
Morse code. Is
Morse
my
code in your
best-
ass
is my
to be a
best-
grandmaster. That's a clip. Morse code in your ass and you become a grandmaster.
Knight to C4.
Well, we got Joe Rogan to thank for that. We'll have to say you.
But it is funny seeing Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe, two bomb experts. I don't think they're really good comedians. They have their good shtick. Rogan has his podcast. Hinchcliffe has Killed Tony. I don't really think they're funny. It shows you the gap in intellect between them and this guy Magnus Carlsen.
Look, man.
He's
you know,
200 IQ
the,
plus.
The guy from Kill Tony, I think he's funny. And Rogan, just from the simple fact that guy, he's above average intelligence without a doubt. He's actually quite smart. But the fact that he can have these type of meaningful conversations, you imagine if you had 2-3 hours of meaningful conversations every day on all kinds of subjects.
You get used to it.
Yeah, but you get smarter and smarter and
You know-
smarter.
you know
but hold
his-
on a second.
Okay.
But the guy that they were talking to, that dude's like in the top, like 1/10% in the world.
0.01, yeah. You know his supplement.
But he can relate. He's
His-
not like autistic like the Rain Man.
Yeah, he enjoys being sequestered and secluded. He's got a wife or a girlfriend. He's not a public person, but
Okay.
he's very smart. But speaking of Joe Rogan, his supplement company, there's a class action lawsuit against Alpha Brain right now
For what?
for deceptive packaging that misled people. The packaging talks about how to improve your brain and memory function, and there was a study
It
that
doesn't?
showed it was a double-blind study. You know,
I
double-blind.
think it's more like a little bit of hyper
Well,
stuff.
the placebos outperformed alpha brain
Oh,
patients.
well, then that's not good. I need to stop buying that.
Don't buy it anymore, man.
And what it did work for me when I need to. All right, look, when
It's
next
the
thing.
placebo effect.
All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to do something real quick. We're going to do a top 3. And it's your top 3 cars in movies. Now, we both have an honorable mention, the same honorable mention, and that is DeLorean, what, DMC?
DMC, I believe.
In Back to the Future series.
That
That's an
company-
honorable mention.
That company had terrible books, but it's
So,
still a cool looking car.
You want to go with your third one?
I could. It's 40 minutes. I could
Yeah,
say
you're
it.
fine. Now, remember, you got to tell them the movie first. But
Yeah,
if
for
they know
sure.
the movie, they'd be like, okay, maybe.
I'm surprised neither of us have mentioned this movie yet, but Kill Bill.
Kill Bill 1.
Kill Bill 1, one of Quentin Tarantino's best movies. You know, Quentin Tarantino is such a fucking. He always puts himself in his own movie.
Of course, why
But
not?
for the movie where he casted Salma Hayek, you know Salma Hayek.
Yeah,
right?
he was in with George Clooney.
Yeah, so
It was the
he,
vampire. No, that wasn't his movie. That was Robert Rodriguez's
he
movie.
wrote in a part for somebody that sucked Salma Hayek's toes, and he casted himself.
Yeah, that wasn't his movie. That was the Dawn of Dusk. That was, or something like that. But that was Robert Rodriguez, which they say is the Mexican
Mexiquin.
Quentin Tarantino. I mixed up Quinn from Quentin with Mexican. So Mexican.
But he always writes himself in the funny parts.
Yeah,
So
why not?
Kill Bill, I have to go with the car that she stole.
After the guy who was molesting her when
The
she
guy
was in
that
a
was
coma.
molesting her while she was in a coma. I gotta go with the pussy wagon, man.
Well, it was so funny
That was
that in the movie when she woke up, she whipped his ass without being able to move her legs, and she dragged herself out, and she took his car keys.
and then she spent all that time trying to get her
Yeah.
foot working in the pussy wagon.
But she took his car keys, and that was the wagon she stole, and she used that to kill the Black Mamba.
Yeah.
What was Vivian Fox?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a great movie. All right, so my third one would be any Aston Martin that James Bond drove in any 007
Those
movies.
DBs, yeah.
I'd take them all. So that's my number 3. So you will go to your number 2?
My number 2, and this is a little bit of a curveball. I gotta go with Lightning McQueen.
That's fucked up.
It's a car, technically.
I go with Eleanor with that Nick Cage movie. What was it? 60 seconds or 90 seconds?
Gone in 60 seconds.
Gone in 60 seconds. Eleanor, the fastback, the 68 fastback. I think it was 68.
Well, yeah, dude, I've been trying to convince you, because you can get a resto mod
Not like
1967
that.
fastback for 20 grand.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. 25 grand. You
Not
get a
chance.
67 fastback
That's a
resto.
piece of shit for 25 grand. All right, what's your number 1?
My number 1 was your number 3. It's the James Bond car, the Aston Martin.
Yeah, but you like
silver
the
bullet.
newer ones, right?
No, I like the. I think it was an Octopussy, but the one that was silver.
Yeah.
It was from like the 2000s, late 1900s. That had all the guns. It had the.
Oh, the machine gun. Well, Daniel
had
Craig
the
just had one.
It had the things that dropped out from the back.
Yeah.
There, you know what's funny? I saw a video.
You know, Daniel Craig's not James Bond anymore.
No, not anymore.
I
They're
told
going
you
with a black
they're
guy.
going to do either Idris Elba or they're going to do Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I think the Henry Cavill guy is the right pick.
Well, they tried to make that black woman at the end of the last James Bond. The next.
You can't make a woman
007.
James Bond. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. It's not sexist. That's just Ian Fleming wrote James Bond as a
But so speaking of
dude.
all the tricks that car has to offer, I saw a video probably 6 months ago. There was a Hellcat being chased by the police. And this guy showed up next to it with another Hellcat, and he handed him a bin, like one of those container bins.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds later, you see the trunk open, and this guy pours the bin out. It was oil. So he made the cop car chasing him spin out by dumping oil behind him.
All right. Listen, I'll go. My number 1 car in a movie of all time is Steve McQueen's car, the old Mustang
green
fastback
Mustang.
in Bullet. That's for me. That's
good
the
choice.
best. That's
It's a
the
good
best.
choice.
You know, you could pick some supercars, a Ferrari or a Porsche
Ferrari.
or something like
You
that.
showed me that
but
new. What
the
was
Shelby.
that new Mustang you showed me?
Yeah, I don't know what they did with it. It's some
It's too
2025
rounded.
livery. But it looked nice.
It does, but it's too
It's looking more,
rounded.
yeah, it's looking more supercar than a Mustang
It looks
muscle
more
car.
like that Mach-E or whatever. That
It looks like
that
a
electric
it looks
sedan
like
Mustang.
who's the one that's got the Trident on the front of it?
Maserati.
Maserati. It's looking more like a Maserati.
The back, as I said,
The back end,
looked
yeah.
like a 350 GTO with how
Oh.
rounded it was.
I don't know. I wouldn't think that. It's a little too bulbous for that.
Bulbous.
Yeah, you get a little bit of
Well, maybe
a
next
little
week.
thick.
Maybe next week we talk about our top 5 Pokemons. Bulbasaur will be on.
I
my
don't even
list.
know a Pokemon except for the yellow
Pokemon. That's Pikachu.
guy. Pikachu. Yeah.
You don't know Jigglypuff or Ditto?
No, man, I don't know. Hey, you. So when you told me
Remember
when
I
you
had
were
that
at
thing?
UVA, you for your fraternity, you had to run in some kind of marathon or race.
You
or
want me to
10K.
tell them about
It
that?
was a 10K, and you dressed up as
Yeah. So
some kind of
we
Pokemon.
did. So I was.
It was a charity thing.
I was pledging at the time, but this was voluntary. We did a 5K for the sorority that had the prettiest girls.
Yeah, but but it was for charity too.
It
right?
was for charity. It was for breast cancer awareness. And then all of us pledges voluntarily dressed up like Pokemon.
You were Charizard.
I was Charizard.
Like,
So I had
he
wings
was
on
brown
my
with
back.
wings. He was dragon, right?
Yeah. So I had wings on my back. I'm wearing these floral shorts.
Hung over
No
from the night
shirt.
before.
Hung over from the night before where I did a little more than drink alcohol.
I don't need to know that.
And I go up to the front of all the people starting. So I'm next to legitimate distance runners. And I'm in.
And then you cheat.
Well, I'll get to that. And I'm in just regular tennis shoes lined up next to these guys who are marathon runners. And I'm pushing my feet back like, oh, let's go. Let's go. And then it starts and I scream and sprint as fast as I can. Ah! I get around the first corner. I get off the track. And then I walk to one of the places on campus to just get breakfast. And then I come back and turn the corner again. 13 minutes into the race. And I finish passing the finish line going, 13 minutes for a 5K.
You came in first place?
Yeah. By like 5 minutes. Everybody around was going,
How did you eat
"There's
breakfast
no
in like
way."
10 minutes?
Well, I just
Did
had
take out or
I had one
something?
of those like egg bagels.
Oh, okay.
I just sausage, egg, and
Well,
cheese.
that was good. That was
And then
good.
everybody's looking at my James, my fraternity brother, my big brother. You know, is this guy for real? And he goes, what do you think? And then when they were announcing first, second, and third with all the sororities around and my name's not called, I go, that's bullshit. I won fair and square. I'm the best. Everyone's like, dude, you got to stop.
Yeah, you probably did. All right, with that, we'll go with our books of the week. This time.
Well, we got another top 5, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the next top 5 is top 5 countries or locations you'd like to visit.
Can I start?
I'll shoot off. Let me start. I want to go to Peru and go to Machu Picchu.
I'll take a Ibiza.
Okay. I want to go to Easter Island. I think that's Chile.
If I don't get killed, I want to go to North Sentinel Island. You know, with that uncontacted tribe.
Yeah, that's where all the uncontacted folks are. I want to take your mom to Jerusalem, but I want to go to Petra and Cairo beforehand.
Egypt is really bad.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it
tourism.
now. I'd probably go
No,
to like
dude,
Casablanca in Morocco.
You have to line the pockets of every government employee that you deal with
Okay,
there.
stop.
No, there's a video. I could show you the video.
All right.
So I got 3 left. This one's a little more conventional or reasonable. I do Turks and Caicos.
Okay. Now, if I was going to go on a vacation like that, I used to say I wanted to go to the Maldives, which was quite nice. But when I was a kid, when we lived in East Africa, I always wanted to go there. And now it's like the cheaper version and better version of Maldives. I want to go to the Seychelles.
Okay.
So off the east coast of Africa, little island chains.
I'm torn between Aruba or Fiji, but I got to go with Fiji.
I would go to Fiji. Or, I'd actually go to Tahiti before Fiji myself. Because remember I told you I went to New Caledonia? that French island and off the coast of Australia. That was quite nice. So I've been to the Taj Mahal. I have not been to Angkor Wat, and I have not been to the Great Wall. But to be honest with you, my fifth and number one location I want to go, I've already told you that I want you to do this with me, and we'll see if we can get your mom to go.
Nepal.
I'm going to go to Antarctica.
Oh.
I'm going to go off of Terra del Fuego and go to Antarctica.
What was that?
Now, Nepal would be nice, too.
And what about that El Camino that we talked about?
Yeah.
You know, when you travel through Spain and you ended that
well, we would have
church?
We'd have to give ourselves 4 weeks, so
Yeah.
we gotta hit on this. But we could take off. We got to start in the Pilgrim's Way in Paris. Not in Paris, but in France, up by the mountains. I forgot what the mountains were called. Not the Pyrenees, but I don't think it's Pyrenees. But we go from France and we on the El Camino. What is it? El Camino de Santiago.
Right.
De Santiago, because that's the church we're going to.
Sure.
It's the Pilgrim's Way.
So let me give my
good
number.
move.
Let me give my number one, and then let me give an honorable mention.
All right.
My number one, just because of their laws, probably have to be Amsterdam.
Okay.
But
Good weekend.
My honorable mention is Poland.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to Warsaw. I always want to see what that was like, and see the history there. All right. Well, we'll go on the books. Kid book series.
That's our theme.
From when we were, I guess you were like what, 8 to 12, and I might have been 10 to 13. I'll go first with my series. So we were talking about Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys because they were real big when I was like in middle school, and that was fun. But I had this one book series I would read. I liked it because the guy was pretty smart, and it was called Encyclopedia Brown.
Yeah.
This kid was. Well, I had you read him.
I read them.
He was smart, and he solved mysteries. Yeah. So, Single Man Scooby-Doo group.
So I was gonna. I'll list off a few runner-ups.
Yeah.
I was gonna do 39 Clues because I loved that series as a kid. You know, I was gonna do Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, and not Goosebumps.
I would never.
Your sister liked those.
I never liked Goosebumps. I thought the writing was too.
Well, your older
plain.
sister liked it because they're a little mystery.
A little easy. The Hardy Boys was cool too, but I gotta go with Captain Underpants.
I never even watched any of those.
My jam. As a kid.
What was the story so people would know?
It's fictitious. This boy came up with this superhero that wears a cape and underwear, and he's bald and hairless.
And he solves crime?
Solves crime.
When I was a young kid, the cartoon I was showing your mom was Hong Kong Phooey.
Very cool graphic novels, though, comics almost, if you will. You know, I got in trouble in school because remember when I was a kid, I would make those depictions of two groups of people two stick figure groups using the guns and the artillery.
Yeah.
I would draw that in school.
Is that from the book?
No, so Captain Underpants doesn't use weapons. I'm just trying to make...
Kind of like Jonah Hill and...
yeah, so I didn't draw dicks.
What's that movie with McGlovin?
Superbad. I didn't draw dicks.
A whole bunch of dick things. That was the funniest part of the movie when they showed that he was a kid.
In his little lunchbox?
Yeah, lunchbox full of dick pics.
And he drops them and the girl hands it to him and goes, ah!
That was terrible. All right, where are we at now? Okay. So we'll do our movies, and then we'll go to the bitch of the week. So what's your movie, or you want me to go first?
You go first. I got to make sure I get this guy's name right.
So my movie is an old 80s movie. I tried to tell your son about B movies. We talked about that last time, or the time before. So mine is a movie called Ice Pirates. It's with Robert, what's his name? I should have remembered his name. And John Matuzak and so forth. These guys are pirates. This is set in the future. It's a B movie, so the effects are for shit. But the evil empire is trying to control ice. These guys, ice pirates, they run it.
Evil empires. We could talk about Spaceballs.
They save a princess.
Just every trope they hit. Every trope.
But it's a good stupid sci-fi movie. It's better than Buckaroo Banzai in the 8th Dimension or whatever that was. What do you got next?
So, I didn't know about this movie until yesterday. It's called In Burgess.
Okay, what's it about?
So these guys, these two fellas, they commit a crime and they have to go low profile.
What crime? Murder or something?
I had like 12 beers
All right,
last
keep going.
night, so I don't know. But they have to go to this place, Burgess, in Europe, to lay low till the heat dies off. And Colin Farrell is in it.
Okay.
And you like Colin Farrell
Is he a bad
movies. No, he's the good guy.
Oh, he's
He's
tracking
the
him down?
main protagonist.
He's tracking him down?
No, he's one of the two that committed the crime, but they're portrayed as the good guys.
Okay.
So, I don't want to say it. I think I've said too much about the movie.
All right.
Just-
Good movie?
Well, you paid for it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I like Colin Farrell.
if you-
I think he's definitely a top 10 actor nowadays. I think he does not get the credit he's due.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good.
The
and
middle-
you know
the-
what? I think Brad Pitt doesn't get the credit he's due, but he's a pretty good
I
actor
can't
too.
wait for that F1 movie.
Yeah,
to come
isn't that
out.
coming out soon on Apple TV?
Summer.
Summer? Okay.
Theaters.
That'll be good.
But the middle of this movie is kind of a slog, but you got to pay attention.
Okay.
Because it reveals the ending, but you just.
All right.
There's this one really funny scene.
Is it better movie than Snatch?
No.
Because Snatch, I'll say next week. That's my movie to
But,
watch next
but
week.
just watch it. You have
Okay.
it on Amazon now.
Fair enough.
Don't watch
All
it
right.
with mom. She'll be pissed.
So
She
what-
won't, it'll go right over her head.
Okay. So we'll tighten up the end of the episode with our bitch of the week. For me, it was on Thursday night. I think it was, 6 o'clock we were watching it? 4 o'clock? Probably 4 o'clock.
No, it was around 3.
Yeah, because in Europe, in London, it's 5,
Because
6
they were at
hours
the
ahead of
O2
us.
Arena.
So at the O2 Arena, the Formula One kicked off
75-year anniversary.
their 75-year anniversary, and they also kicked off.
You were texting me like, who the fuck is this host? I'm like, he's a comedian. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
he was terrible. The host was terrible. But you got to see the drivers and the cars and their new livery for 2025. And I'm sorry to say this because it was Iowa Kamatsu and I got to give it to you, dude, because you're the principal of the Haas team. Listen, I'm
Bring
real
back
big.
Gunter.
I'm real big in Formula One.
Bring back Gunther.
Yeah, he was there before. And I'm real big that you got a U.S. team in there. But the I don't know who that country singer was, but he was terrible.
That black. I didn't know that guy was black. I knew that
No,
song.
he wasn't black. Is he?
That
No, the country singer.
was black.
Well, I don't know what he was, if he was African American or if he wasn't. But the song was dog shit. And listen, I'm all about American pride, all about it. But you can't talk shit about being American in F1 because we suck in F1.
Your Liam Lawsons are only American.
So
and he's heinous.
when they were giving that big rah-rah speech, it was like, oh, come on, man. You got to know your audience. And then the livery, that car, the color with the black on the bottom.
Worse than last year.
They didn't even do anything.
No.
It's terrible. So
The
that's
coolest-
dog shit.
The
They got to do
coolest
better
one
than
was
that.
it's such a stupid name.
I like the
The
Williams
no,
one.
the coolest one, and they have such a stupid name, is the Visa
Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls. They actually had the best car. I'll give them that. And that was
Because
the
they
standard.
had what looks like the Japan
Yeah,
livery
but
of
they
Red
had
Bull.
they had this different stickers. It was how a car you would think if you were like imagining what an F1 car looks like. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So who's yours?
So you talk about the bad performance. I will just quickly give a consolation to Aston Martin's performance, a visual display with all the James Bond.
Yeah, I'll give it a
thematic
good
concepts.
reference. Except for when they walk through the audience, they look like a bunch of tools.
Yeah, I mean,
Because Lance Stroll does not look like James Bond.
wearing a suit with a driving
and
hat.
Alonso, although he could be like the Dos Equis guy, he's not James Bond.
So my bitch of the week, and I alluded to this previously, but he's my bitch of the week for one sole reason, is the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, because last
Because
week
he was like Hawk Tua, huh?
he posted on Twitter a cryptocurrency, and he posted his support for it and said it was the future of Argentina.
Yeah, because they're going through inflation and they need to do stuff,
So
right?
they need an alternative, but this coin was not the alternative.
Why?
Because after he posted about it,
And everybody drove the price
they
up?
drove the price up and they got rug pulled. And then he deleted the tweet. And now he's facing corruption charges
Look,
or charges of fraud.
Yeah.
So I like everything else you're doing for the most part, brother. You're doing good. You're getting rid of unnecessary spending in your government.
Yeah.
But don't rug pull your people.
Look, I don't know much about cryptocurrency. I'll tell you that right now. But one thing I do know is don't rug pull people. and with that, we will end the show. Thank you very much. We'll see you for episode 11 next week.
You got anything for them to look forward to for next week?
The rest of the Reacher episodes. And maybe we get closer to March Madness. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Bahrain testing starts next week.
When is the Bahrain race? Is that before Australia?
No, Australia's first.
Yeah, that's not till March
they do their
13th or
testing
something.
in Bahrain.
Okay. All right, well, we'll look forward to that. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. See you next week.
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.